Essay number 29, Glen. Music expresses that which cannot be said, and on which it is impossible to be silent. Victor Hugo. Last year, we were traveling to the Midwest for my husband to attend an academic conference, so we decided to spend Thanksgiving weekend with my mom and stepdad while we were there. A month before the trip, we bought tickets for a Glen Hansard concert as the national tour pulled through St. Louis. In the early days of our love, Travis and I had listened to Glen's voice, to the swell season and the soundtrack to the movie Once. And when we moved to Atlanta, his new album serenaded me on long drives across the city and while I scrubbed dishes at my kitchen sink, my worship for this season. On the night of the concert, we ran from the hotel room where my parents spent the evening with the boys. I was giddy. We quickly ate dinner at a little Mediterranean restaurant across the street from the theater. We had a beer at the bar just inside the theater and waited to find our seats in the tiny auditorium. Inside, I ate a bag of honey-roasted peanuts and drank Pepsi, and when Glen finally walked on stage, every part of our busy hearts was hushed, and we leaned forward and listened close for the voice in the instrument. We were listening for God. He began the show with an a cappella version of one of his songs, and I knew I'd stop breathing by the time it was over. If I could have hushed the world, I would have, so that they could hear that still, small voice. We tell ourselves that worship happens in the proper places at the proper times, when we go to church and do holy things and work hard to take part in the sacred and good. But it seems to me that Jesus changed that with every day that he lived, surprising people with healing by mud, with touching the untouchable, making the unholy places perfectly sacred again. And so we find worship where it finds us, in a small St. Louis amphitheater on a cold November night. We lingered in the back of that little theater as long as we could, until it was time to go back to the boys. And we reminded each other again that life is full and ready for living, ready for worship, ready for sacred experiences that form a deeper and deeper well within us. I bought another album of Glen's a few months later, and I still listen to it in the mornings while I unload the dishwasher, and the Celtic storytelling that streams through his voice speaks to the Native American storyteller in me. There are visions of hope that are asking to seep out of us if we only let them, and when they do, we experience worship. So I will keep listening to Glen's voice. He serenades me even as I write these very words. I will keep listening to his voice because it points me back to myself and back to God, back to the gift of hope, a fire lit in the heart that cannot be put out. The prayer. Jesus, I thank God that you knew yourself enough to be holy where holiness couldn't be found. I thank God that you found yourself among the most broken ones, that you reminded everything that it was good, that it was worthy, that it was the face of sacred love. May we find ourselves in whatever space we inhabit, and may we find you there where we look and where we listen. Hallelujah, you remain with us.